Hello viewers, how are you? Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about taxonomy of educational objectives as well as Bloom's taxonomy. The word taxonomy is derived from the Greek word taxa, which means arrangement. The idea of developing a taxonomy in educational objectives was formed at a meeting of college examiners attending the American Psychological Convention in Boston in 1948. In 1953, the group of college and university examiners, whereby a threefold division of educational objectives was developed, namely cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Professor Benjamin S. Bloom have attempted to classify the educational objectives into hierarchy. The purpose of taxonomy of educational objectives are to establish a common understanding about the hierarchical classification of objectives, to establish the accuracy of communication regarding the objectives of education among teachers, teacher educators, curriculum framers, and evaluators, to reduce the vagueness arising out of such loosely defined terms and concepts as to know, to reason, understanding, interest, etc., and to understand the relationship among them, to help educators to plan and evaluate learning experiences, to become a means of more precise communication system in the fields of education, to become a means of understanding the sequence and organization of human development, to make a comparison between circular goals and possible outcomes, to help in clearly defining and meaningfully evaluating the educational standards of a school. Bloom's Taxonomy of Educational Objectives 1956. Bloom's classified educational objectives into three main areas or domains in his book Taxonomy and Educational Objectives, which is published in 1956. They are cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Cognitive domain is concerned with the ability to do a task. Affective domain is concerned with the will or desire or attitude to do the task. Cognitive and affective domains are theoretical aspects of human behavior. Psychomotor domain is concerned with the practical aspects. The three domains are treated as H to the power of 3: head, heart, and hand. Cognitive domain linkage with head, affective domain linkage with heart, and psychomotor domain linkage with hand. Classification of educational objectives as cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Nothing but head, heart, and hand. In cognitive domain, it includes a recall and of knowledge and the development of intellectual abilities and skills like knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and valuation. In affective domain, it changes the interests and values and the development of appreciation and attitudes like receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and characterizing. In psychomotor domain, development of recognition, manipulate or motor skills like perception, imitation, manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. Let us discuss about cognitive domain. Cognitive domain contains 6 major classes of objectives arranged on the basis of complexity of tasks and arranged from simple to complex. Objectives of this domain are observable and measurable. First one is knowledge. It involves the recall or recognition of specifics and universal methods and process of a pattern, structure of setting. Knowledge represents the lowest level of learning outcomes in the cognitive domain. Knowledge includes knowledge of specifics, knowledge of terminology, knowledge of specific facts, knowledge of ways of dealing with specific organizations, studying, judging, criticizing, ideas and phenomena. Knowledge conventions, knowledge of trends and sequences, knowledge of classification and categories, knowledge of criteria, knowledge of methodology of technique or procedure used in specific fields or specific problem solving or inquiry, knowledge of universals and abstractions, knowledge of principles and generalizations, knowledge of theories and structures. Second one is comprehension in cognitive domain. Comprehension represents the lowest level of understanding and includes translation, interpretation, and extrapolation. Comprehension is the ability to grasp the meaning of the material. In that, first one is translation. Translation means that an individual can put a communication into other languages, into other terms, or into other forms of communication, etc. Translation from one level of abstraction to another, translation from symbolic form to another form, or vice versa, translation from one verbal form to another. Second one is interpretation. When a communication is given, the student can identify and comprehend the major ideas which are included in it, as well as understand their interrelationships. And the third one is extrapolation. Establishing future trends by pretending consequences of effects. Extrapolation can only be an inference which has some degree of probability. Extrapolation includes drawing conclusions, making a prediction. Third one is application. Application implies the ability to apply an abstraction, method, theory, principle, formula, etc. to an unfamiliar or novel situation. Abilities under application: searching familiar element in an unfamiliar situation, using familiar elements to restructure problem in a familiar context, classifying the problem as familiar in time, selecting abstractions, theory, principles, idea, method suitable to problem type, use of abstraction to solve a problem, finding solution to a problem. Fourth one is analysis. Analysis refers to the ability to break down material into components, parts, so that its organization structure may be understood. Analysis finds out the interrelation between each part and the way they are organized to form a whole. Analysis is attempted at three levels: analysis of elements, analysis of relationships, analysis of organization and principles. Fifth one is synthesis. Synthesis refers to the ability to put parts together to form a new whole. Synthesis may involve the production of a unique communication, theme speech, a plan of operation, research proposal, a set of abstract relations, scheme for classifying information. Learning outcomes of synthesis stress creative behavior with major emphasis on the formulation of a new pattern of structures. Synthesis is joining together wire elements to form a new whole, combining of various elements of a body which is either not clear or partially correct to provide a complete structure. Synthesis of a new body combining new material with old experiences, production of a unique communication, production of a plan or proposal set of operations, deviation of a set of abstract relations. Next one is evaluation. Evaluation is concerned with the ability to judge the value of material information like statement, novel, report, etc., and methods for a given purpose. The judgments are based on internal evidence or external evidence. Internal evidence organization. Judgments in terms of internal evidence is qualitative in nature, such as logical, accuracy, consistency, and other internal criteria. Internal evidence are like judgments made on the basis of accuracy, consistencies and reliability, precision and exactness. Whereas external evidences are the judgments made on the basis of result, efficiency, economy, utility, standard, and generalization. Learning outcomes in this area are the highest in the cognitive domain since they contain elements of all the other categories of cognitive domain and conscious value judgments based on clearly defined criteria. Evolution aims at making judgments about the values, ideas, works, solutions, methods, and material, etc. Now we are going to discuss about affective domain. Affective domain objectives deals with interests, attitudes, values, appreciation, and adjustment. These characteristics are hard to define and evaluate. The objectives of the affective domain describe the behavior. A hierarchy of objectives in the affective domain was developed by David Cranhole, Benjamin S. Bloom, and Maslow in 1964. Affective domain is divided into five major classes like receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and characterizing, arranged in hierarchical order on the basis of the level of involvement. In affective domain, the first one is receiving. It means to orient the learner to learn. Receiving consists of three subcategories that represent a continuum. First one is awareness. It is almost cognitive behavior without a specific discrimination or recognition of the objective characteristics of the objects. Second one is willingness. Willingness to receive is to tolerate a given stimulus, not to avoid it. It involves a neutrality of suspended judgment towards the stimulus. Attention, which might be controlled or selected. And the second one in affective domain is responding. This level comes after the teacher has given his attention. This includes behavior, its compliance, and willingness to respond. This stage includes reading about the subject and enjoying in various extracurricular activities or projects. The subcategories of responding are acquaintances in responding, willingness to respond, satisfaction in response on subjects, and appreciation on subjects and teachers. Third one is valuing. It includes acceptance of a value, preference for a value, and commitment to a certain point of view. This is an abstract concept which is an important element of behavior. Fourth one is organizing. Organizing pertains to the building of a system of values. Organization includes conceptualization of a value and organization of value system. After developing values, the quality of abstraction or conceptualization is added. The process of abstraction involves analysis and synthesis. And fifth one is characterizing. This is the highest level of affective domain and includes characterization of a person's behavior by certain controlling values, ideas, or beliefs, and the integration of values and attitudes into a world view or total philosophy of life. After attaining this objective, the individual starts acting constantly in accordance with the values he has developed. Characterization includes generalized set. The generalized set is that which gives an internal constancy to the system of attitudes and values at any particular moment. And second one is characterization. Critics on affective domain, Krathwohl, etc., have not succeeded in filling completely the gap in the theoretical framework and the methodology of educational evolution in the affective domain. Affective domain is the realm of feeling, emotions, and attitudes in people as distinct from the cognitive domain. Students often gain support in the learning situation when their positive feelings and attitudes can be summoned as motivation. Some educationals lay greater stress on cognitive objects and poorer job in evaluating affective objects. Effective behavior is under evaluated in schools because it is very difficult to change it or to measure it accurately. The techniques of attitude change are not nearly so well developed, so successful as the techniques for attaining cognitive objectives. Measurement in the affective domain is difficult because lack of behavioral objectives. Educators do not try to evaluate whether or not effective objectives have been attained. Next one is psychomotor domain. Psychomotor domain refers to the conscious control of muscular movements and their perfection through practice. This domain includes those objectives which deal with all the motor skills and their perfection through practice. Dave, 1969, proposed five categories in psychomotor domain. First one is initiation, manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. Behavior which includes muscular action and requires neuromuscular coordination is grouped in under this domain. First one is perception. This includes sensory stimulation such as auditory, visual, tactile, taste, smell, and kinesthetics, nothing but muscular movement. Second one is imitation. Observing other work and repeating the same. Imitation of an action or performance. Third one is manipulation. Manipulation of an action. Acquired skills and confidence by doing things correctly. This includes differentiating among various movements and selecting the proper one. Fourth one is precision. Precision is responding to a given act without any confusion. This includes accuracy in proportion and performance and exactness in performance. Fifth one is articulation. Articulation among different acts. This includes coordination, sequence, and harmony among acts. Sixth one is naturalization. All activities or learning should become natural and habit. Here an individual skill attain its highest level of proficiency in performing an act with the least expenditure of psychic energy. Seventh one is the act become so automatic that is attained to unconsciously. Now we are going to discuss about merits and demerits of Bloom's taxonomy. In the case of merits, Bloom's taxonomy helps teaching learning process in a scientific and effective manner. It helps the teacher to fix the aims and objectives of the subject before teaching. Bloom's taxonomy serves as the backbone of many teaching philosophies. Bloom's taxonomy can be used as a tool to help balance assessment and selecting questions for evaluation. It emphasizes on higher order thinking skills. It is a convenient way to describe the degree to which we want our students to understand. It can be used in a repeated fashion to first state and then refine course goals. It can be used to identify which assessment techniques are most appropriate for measuring these goals. Demerits. Bloom's classification is not applicable to all areas of curriculum. This classification lays emphasis more on measurable behavior and does not give importance to measurable work of the people. Bloom's educational objectives are not that much helpful to socialize the child. Evaluating the affective domain objectives is very difficult. There is no place for freedom to the teacher. Critique on Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives. According to O'Neill, the taxonomy is not at satisfactory level. This should be categorized based on the subject and reschedule it. According to Sackett, objectives are not necessary to fix during the lesson plan preparation. All of us simplify writing the objectives to a lesson but how many of us are teach the lesson according to it? According to Jackson, participation of students in the classroom teaching is better than the achieving of aims and objectives of a lesson. The classroom teaching will become an artificial one but not a natural. According to Newton and Kelly, the taxonomy is totally an artificial because we can't categorize exactly the three domains as it is what Bloom said. The three domains have interdependent. It is not easy to calculate the analysis, synthesis, and evaluation among the students at school level. Till to date, we don't have sufficient tools to access objectives of the three domains. There is no clarity on Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives when compared with the taxonomy of animals, plants, and elements in chemistry. We are given more priority to cognitive domain but not given the same priority to affective and psychomotor domain. Please like, share and subscribe my channel.